So a change control system should continually identify changes, actual and proposed, as they occur and reveal the consequences of the proposed changes, whether we accept those changes or not, in terms of their cost impact and schedule impact. The change control process should permit managerial analysis and investigation of alternatives and an acceptance or rejection checkpoint. It needs to communicate changes to all stakeholders and ensure the changes that are implemented. Let me show you an example of a change control process. Every change proposal has to be identified, so you must identify that change. The next thing is try to understand why change needs to happen or clarify the scope of the change. From there, you need to do an impact analysis on whether the change, what is the impact to cost, to schedule, to quality, or whatnot. And typically, there's a hierarchy of decision makers in the process. If typically the change that is being proposed is neutral to timelines and to budgets, typically the project manager would just assess it for the potential risk it introduces and the quality impact that it may have and approves it. For example, I was trying to build this arch, right? And in the process of building an arch, I discovered that structurally the arch will not work out the way I want it to be, and I need to put wire steel inside to make it better. I was able to negotiate such as there's no incremental cost associated to it, and my team will just work a little bit of extra. We will not work overtime, and there will be no cost impact to it. Neither would there be any schedule impact to it. For short, project manager can manage it. He accepts it. So that's a good example of a project where he doesn't have to escalate it to somebody else, like what the control process will show you in a minute. However, whether he accepts a change proposal or accepts or rejects, we need to be able to document that. And there needs to be a communication process by which you're informing the appropriate stakeholders of potential changes that you're approving or not. If this is something that has an impact to scope, or it has an impact to the schedule, or additional money is required, typically project organizations have what they call change control boards in the form of a steering committee or some kind of a change control entity inside the company that approves these types of changes for project managers. And so the project manager will then escalate it to that change control board, present the proposed changes, his recommendation, and then if it is approved, he updates the project baseline because it will have an impact. So if the budget needs to be increased, he will then re-baseline it from X to X plus, or if the timeline will be extended from the current deadline, then he will get that extension as a result of that acceptance. He then executes or implements that change, all the while documenting and communicating all these changes and the disposition of the change. This is a critical capability of a project manager to be able to document, because many project managers are leaders without authority, meaning accidental project managers are asked to manage the project within enterprises and organizations, but they lack the official authority to make approvals or would not within their approval limits. And if that was the case, typically the only thing that a project manager can do is escalate. So for those project managers who hesitates to escalate, the point I want to make here during the implementation stage is that's all you could do. You can't expect to be in a nirvana kind of a state, on an ideal utopic stage where your organization would just naturally do the work that they're supposed to do in a project, when you should remember that projects are extraordinary endeavors undertaken and is not part of their daily work. So if this is on top of that daily work, and these resources that are assigned to your project are not 100% would just naturally do the work that they're supposed to do in a project, when you should remember that projects are extraordinary endeavors undertaken and is not part of their daily work. So if this is on top of that daily work, and these resources that are assigned to your project are not 100% resource allocated to that project, and they're doing other things, there is nothing you can do. I don't understand why you have to, be combative or even tough on each other, when really it's a function of priority that may rest well above your pay grade. And so what you mainly need to do, and remember, as a project manager, there's only one thing you can do, and that is to escalate.